Hello, hello. Welcome back to the deep end, everyone. I am Sherry.
And I'm Macwean. It's really wonderful to be back behind the mic with you all for another deep dive.
It really is. And for the record, today is Wednesday, February 25, 2026.
Right?
Now, if you are glancing at your calendar or your phone right now, you might realize that today isn't just any ordinary Wednesday.
No, it carries a lot of cultural weight.
Exactly. But before we get into exactly why today is so special, and trust me, the story is incredible, we just have to say a massive thank you.
Oh, absolutely. The engagement on our last discussion was honestly through the roof.
It was amazing. We really appreciate every single one of you who listens, comments, and shares these deep dives.
Yeah, it's that community support that keeps the lights on. It keeps us digging through the stacks of research to bring you these insights.
And just a quick reminder, if you are finding value in what we do here, please do hit that like button.
Share it with a friend.
Drop a comment. It really, really helps others find the show so they can benefit from these topics too.
Because our mission here, as always, is to dive deep into the issues that matter to our community.
Right, the happenings shaping our world. We aren't here to just skim the headlines.
No, we want to get to the core of things.
And speaking of community topics, we've been seeing some specific chatter in the feedback loop lately.
We have. We want to hear from you directly on this.
Yeah, if you want us to tackle the topic of Canada immigration and opportunities in a future deep dive, drop a comment below.
Let us know if that is a file you need us to open up. It's a massive topic with a lot of moving parts.
Definitely, so let us know. Also, one last bit of housekeeping for the business owners and creators listening.
Right, the sponsorships.
We've had quite a few inquiries recently. If you want to advertise your products or services right here on the Deep Dive, you can reach out to us directly.
Just send a detailed message to deepdive247@gmail.com.
I'll say that one more time. That is deepdive247@gmail.com.
Okay, housekeeping is officially done.
Yes. Let's get to the main event. I mentioned the date earlier, February 25, 2026.
The last Wednesday of February.
Exactly. Today is Pink Shirt Day.
Which is huge.
It is. And for our listeners who might see pink shirts around town or flooding their social feeds today and think, oh, everyone coordinated outfit.
It is so much more than a color coordination thing.
So much more. The history is actually surprisingly jagged.
It really is. I mean, it's a global movement now.
Yeah.
Effectively a worldwide symbol of anti-bullying.
Mm-hmm.
But what I find fascinating is that it started in a very specific, very small place.
It wasn't some UN initiative.
No, or a corporate marketing campaign. It started in a hallway in Nova Scotia.
A hallway in Cambridge, Nova Scotia, to be exact. Let's set the scene for you guys. We are going back to Central Kings Rural High School.
Right.
It's the first day of school. Now, I want you to imagine the social pressure of that environment. You are a grade 9 student.
You're already nervous.
Exactly. New school, new hierarchy. And this one student decides to wear a pink shirt.
A bold choice for a first day, perhaps, but certainly not one that should invite hostility.
Not in a rational world.
But high schoolers are rarely rational worlds. They are tribal.
Yeah, they really are.
Unfortunately, that student was immediately targeted, who was bullied simply for the color of his shirt,
The older kids mocked him.
threatened to beat him up,
Yeah.
essentially tried to enforce a rigid gender norm through aggression.
And usually, this is where the story ends. The kid goes home, feels terrible, never wears the shirt again.
And the bullies win. That's the standard script.
That's the bystander effect in action. Everyone sees it. Nobody says anything because they don't want to be the next target.
But this time, the script got flipped. Two senior students, David Shepard and Travis Price, saw this happening.
And I love this part because they were seniors. They had social capital to spend.
Exactly. They didn't just say, hey, cut it out. They decided to make a statement that would completely overwhelm the bullies.
They weaponized solidarity.
They really did. They went to a discount store that same night and bought, depending on the source, somewhere between 50 and 75 pink shirts.
Tank tops, tees, whatever they could find. They just bought out the inventory.
Then they messaged their classmates that night.
Using MSN Messenger or whatever the early networks were back then.
Yeah. And the next morning, they stood in the school foyer handing them out.
Can you imagine walking into school that next morning? They called it a sea of pink.
It must have been visually arresting. It's such a powerful tactic.
Imagine being that grade 9 student. You walk in expecting to be ridiculed again.
Expecting to be isolated. And instead, you see dozens of seniors, the people at the top of the social food chain, wearing the very color you were mocked for.
It completely devalued the bully's currency.
Instantly. The sources say the bullies were never heard from again regarding that issue.
It silenced them. And that's the spark. That's how we got to where we are today.
It proved that change doesn't always start with institutions writing policies. Sometimes it starts with the students themselves.
A perfect example of grassroots mobilization. But as heartwarming as that story is, we have to pivot to the global scale.
Because the global picture of bullying is pretty stark. Nova Scotia was a victory, but this is a much larger war.
It's heavy reading. Looking at the global data, about 1 in 3 students worldwide report being bullied.
1 in 3.
That's not a small margin. Count off 3 kids in a classroom, one of them is dealing with this.
It's almost a statistical certainty. And this is consistent across the 96 countries studied in the source material.
Yeah, the data shows approximately 19 to 32% of students report being bullied within a recent month.
A recent month. This isn't a once-a-year problem. It's chronic.
But what's particularly fascinating is how it manifests differently depending on where you are.
Right, the regional contrast.
Yeah, break down the difference between physical and relational bullying for us.
So, in many global regions, particularly outside of the West, physical bullying is reported more frequently.
So shoving, hitting, theft.
Exactly. Tangible aggression. But when you look at North America and Europe, the data shifts dramatically. We see much higher rates of psychological or relational bullying.
Relational bullying. It sounds clinical, but it's actually the stuff that's harder to see.
Precisely. It's social exclusion. It's rumors. The silent treatment.
The you can't sit with us mentality.
Yes. It is the systematic dismantling of a person's social standing. And it can be more insidious because it leaves no physical marks.
Which makes it incredibly difficult for teachers to spot.
And much easier for victims to internalize. It attacks the psyche.
And speaking of North America, let's zoom in on Canada specifically, since that's where Pink Shirt Day originated.
You might think Canada is polite. It must be better there.
But the numbers are concerning. 1 in 5 Canadian students report experiencing bullying frequently.
And if we broaden the scope to include experiencing at least one form of bullying in the past year, that number jumps to 71% of youth aged 12 to 17.
71%?
A massive majority. It suggests it's pervasive. It's woven into the high school experience.
We also have to talk about who is getting targeted. The data highlights that sexually and gender-diverse students report significantly higher rates of bullying.
Which connects directly back to that first day in Nova Scotia.
Exactly. The trigger was a boy wearing pink. He was challenging a gender norm.
The bullies were policing that identity. And the data shows this policing of identity is still a huge driver of bullying behavior.
And the health consequences are real. High stress, sleep difficulties, anxiety, depression.
It's a public health crisis disguised as kids being kids.
It really is. And that leads us to the core messages of Pink Shirt Day.
Because when David and Travis handed out those shirts, they were sending 3 distinct signals to 3 different groups.
I think unpacking these is key. Let's start with the first group.
The victims. The message to them is, you are seen, you are supported, you matter.
That feeling of isolation is the most dangerous part.
The sea of pink shatters that isolation visually.
And the second group?
The bystanders. This is crucial because bystanders are the majority. The message to them is, silence supports harm. Your voice matters.
Because bullying requires the audience to do nothing.
Exactly. Pink Shirt Day tells the bystander that doing nothing is a choice and it's the wrong one.
And finally, the third group, the bullies themselves.
The message is simple. Cruelty is not admired here.
Right.
Bullies act to gain social capital. But when the peer group stands up and says, this isn't cool, the bully loses that reward. Their stock crashes.
Which brings us perfectly to the psychology of it all. The core psychological mechanism depends on 3 things.
Audience, approval, and silence.
This is the mechanics of human behavior right here. Bullying is a performance.
Take away the audience, or if the audience disapproves, the behavior becomes ineffective.
When bystanders become upstanders, they shift the social norm.
They rewrite the rules of the room.
But does that actually work? Does shifting the norm reduce the numbers?
The research is optimistic. School-based programs using a whole school approach can reduce bullying by 20 to 70%.
That's a huge reduction.
It proves it's a cultural problem, and culture can be engineered.
Now, we have to talk about how this has evolved. In 2026, the playground isn't the only place kids hang out.
We have to talk about technology, cyberbullying.
It is the new frontier. The stats show that 1 in 4 Canadian teens report experiencing cyberbullying.
25%. And the scary part is the lack of escape.
Right. If you were bullied in the 90s, you could go home, shut the door, and be safe.
The home was a sanctuary. Now the bully follows you home. It's in your pocket, buzzing on your nightstand at 2 in the morning.
There is no safe haven. Group chats, social media, online harassment.
And because it can be anonymous, the cruelty can be even more extreme. The aggressor doesn't see the tears, so they don't stop.
So what's the fix here? The sources mention safe reporting systems. How does that translate online?
This is a key actionable point. We need mechanisms for anonymous online incident submissions.
Right, because kids are terrified of being labeled a snitch.
Exactly. Students need to feel safe speaking up without fear of retribution. If a student sees toxicity in a group chat, there needs to be a way to flag it to a trusted authority without being outed.
Anonymity is the digital equivalent of safety in numbers.
That removes the fear of retaliation.
So let's pivot to actionable advice for our listeners. Let's start with the students listening. What is their move today?
For students, remember the power of the sea of pink. Be an upstander.
Don't just scroll past.
Breaking the silence is the kryptonite to bullying. Even a small gesture changes things. Sit with the person who is alone. Send a supportive message saying, "I saw that and it wasn't cool."
It tells them they aren't alone. And for the parents and guardians listening,
It starts with fostering empathy. Teach children that kindness is strength.
rewrite the script at home.
And regarding intervention, it needs to be safe and strategic. Work with the school. Support that whole school approach.
Don't go rogue and confront the other parents.
No, that usually backfires. Build a net of safety around the child with adult supervision and community involvement.
It really does take a village. You know, as we wrap this up, I keep thinking about David and Travis carrying those pink shirts in a plastic bag.
Such a humble beginning. Just a plastic bag full of discount shirts.
But it contained a revolution, a shift in consciousness.
It did. Pink Shirt Day is a declaration against silence.
And I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Bullying affects a person's identity and confidence long term. We aren't just protecting kids' lunch money, we are protecting who they become.
Exactly. The solution isn't just a policy. It's a cultural shift where we collectively say yes to empathy.
I love that. So to all our listeners, happy Pink Shirt Day.
Wear it proud, speak up, and take care of each other. Let love lead.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We will catch you next time.